Success or failure in business is again quite possible. That there are many businesses which have started and then failed and stopped. It has been statistically proven that the new businesses which are coming in India, our country is focusing more on entrepreneurship development. So new entrepreneurs should come up, new businesses should be started. That movement is called as Make in India movement, if you are aware of. Why? Because our government wants that why can't we have our businesses started very much in India so that we have to import less, so that our economy will grow and our value of our rupee will decline as compared to the cost of the rupee with reference to the dollars. Why this is required? Because we want to have more businesses coming up, more people who are giving jobs to the people, to other who require the jobs are coming up. So Startup India or Make in India, those are the things which are happening nowadays. Now what is happening with the Startup of India? Government is giving a lot of schemes that if you want to start with a new business without any documentation or without much documentation, I would say, you will directly get away 10 lakh rupees of loan without any kind of mortgage to be kept there if you want to start with a new business. Many people have started taking the advantage of 10 lakhs and 20 lakhs is also available. Then you go to government banks, they will give you the loan up to some crores of rupees provided you put somewhere 50 to 25% of your business you want to start from your own side, and the government will give 75% and 15% the central government will give. Why those things are there? So that we want to promote, or our country wants to promote more entrepreneurs coming up. But still, talking about success and failure in the business, it is proven by statistical surveys which are done in our country that most of the businesses, these new businesses under Make in India, out of 10, 8 businesses fail. It's a very huge figure. It means 80% of businesses started, they are failing. Only 2 people will sustain, or only 2 people will continue. 2 of the entrepreneurs will continue with their business. Why? Because there is every possibility that a business which you start is likely to fail unless and until you take a proper precaution and you follow all knowledge what you learned in MBA. So ideally I am saying, whenever you must have taken an admission in our institution, this institution, or maybe somebody might have come to develop MS at that time of admission, you might have asked the first question, which is a very common question which all of you have asked. Then, yes, I got the answer. So what are the placements? Ideally, what is the full form of MBA? Master of Business Administration, right? Is it mentioned that Master of Administrating the business of somebody else? No, so why can't you have your own business? You are giving a degree, or you are getting a degree which is Masters of Business Administration. So why don't you administer your own business? Why do you get a job in a company and manage somebody else's business? Those people will make the money in crores of rupees, they will give you some lakhs of rupees of salary. That too after 10-15 years of your career. Idea is that whenever we are giving you a degree, government, the university is giving you a degree, why do you ask for placements? I always talk to my students, probably I'll talk to you also the same sentence. I want to see a placement department closed. I want all 180 students starting with their own businesses. That is what the degree is meant for. MBA degree is not to give you a job in a corporate, is to give you an ability to start with a business. Not necessarily that you should be joining some company and make their businesses flourish. Ideally, technically and legally also. But then we ask the first question, placement hai kya, placement nahi hai, to institution is not good. Well, all that discussion can go in some different direction, because ultimately what we are trying to see is that why can't you start with your own business and make it a success? On the other side, it is true that you also know that 8 businesses are failing out of 10, then there is some, I would say, hurdle in the mind, or I would say there is some kind of negativity in the mind that if I fail, what will happen? And only because of that inhibition in your mind, you are not likely to start with the businesses. And it is proven that those entrepreneurs who have been successful, those are the ones who are risk takers, those who are ready to take the failure also. And there are many cases where the entrepreneurs have failed and then they have come up with the biggest business. Alibaba, Jack Ma is the best example. He started, forget about Alibaba. Another example which you all know is KFC. Who is the owner? Name starts with S. KFC is the full form. Kentucky Fried Chicken, right? And Colonel Sanders was the owner, he is the owner rather. and he started this business at the age of 65, where in most of the countries we get retired at the age of 58. He started that business after he failed in many businesses, but he was there. He decided, no, I want to do the business anyhow. So at the age of 65 he started, and then he became successful. At the age of 72, it took 7 years to develop that KFC. Now it is available in any corner of the country. So there is possibility of failure in the business, but success and failure both are remaining in your hands, not in somebody else. You cannot give credit to the success to yourself, and you cannot give blame of your failure to somebody else. It is always you who is responsible for failure, and success is always with all the people put together. That point is coming up later. Learning organization I have already explained. Work-life balance is another issue where a lot of studies are being done. I know that there may be at least 100 PhDs done only on this topic. Work-life balance of IT people, work-life balance of manufacturing people, work-life balance of bank people, work-life balance of NGOs, work-life balance of students, work-life balance of working women. And that is very much required in today's era. Gone are the days when people were very happy in whatever they were doing. Usually most of the people used to have their own smaller businesses, they were happy with it. Most of Indian people were doing agriculture as their major source of income. And too much earlier days there was a barter system where I'll give you wheat, you give me clothes, something like that. So when the currency was not existing. Now there is a lot of competition, and to be in the competition you have to keep running. It is just like a marathon which is happening today. So if you have your own track and you are running on your own track alone, means if you have got your own business, there is no competitor, there is no question of winning comes. But now what has happened? The question which you asked, what is the placement? So everybody wants to get placed in Wipro, everybody wants to get placed in Capgemini, everyone wants to get placed in Bajaj, Tata, Reliance, Ambani, Wipro, etc. Why so? Because somebody must have told you that there is this, if you get placed in this particular company or this particular corporate, you will be called as one of the successful MBA students. Why it is required? Why can't you start with your own business? That is the main point which I am trying to tell you. So we are talking about work-life balance. When you start with your own business, it is very much likely that you will be busy for 24 hours. You can see even the businessmen which are around you, it may be a very smaller shop on some marketplace in Pimpri or marketplace on Lakshmi Road in Pune. That businessman is busy almost 24 hours. He might be hardly sleeping somewhere at 11 o'clock. He will get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. He will do his morning call and then he will go back to the workplace. So he is engaged in the businesses for almost 24 hours. And that is probably one of the negativity or one of the negative points about starting with a new business, that you are employed for 24 hours. Unlike other businesses in IT, if you go to the workplace, you log into your system, and then when you go off at 6 o'clock, you log out. That's it. You don't take any burden of at workplaces home, barring exception cases who are working from home. Yesterday also I mentioned that working from home is not really working from home. They are making you available for 24 hours. Yesterday I mentioned that there are MNCs which are actually Western MNCs. So they have that all working hours somewhere at night. Daytime also you'll have got some of the other meetings, what they call it as a calls. And that call goes on for hours and hours. So where is the family life? Where is your own life? Where is that word? Where is the life? When I say life is your personal life, when I say work is your work life. So everyone, you have to balance your work life as well as personal life. Once you start working in any company, any damn company for that matter, whether you are working offline or online, you are employed almost for 24 hours. Nowadays the situation has become like that. So where is the time for your family? Where is the time for your own people? Where is the time for going out with your family and enjoying the money which you are getting? You might be drawing say 3 lakh rupees a salary per month, but then if you are not able to make an outcome of it, if you are not able to enjoy that money, what is the use of it? So let me tell you how you can do this work-life balance. Later reference will come, that time I will speak more on that. But then I have got a very simple strategy of work-life balance. That simple strategy is that when I go out of my office, unless and until it is too much urgent, I don't do any of my office work at home. Point number 1. Point number 2 is Sundays, I do not attend any calls. It may be my boss's call, because right at the time of joining, I tell very honestly to all my bosses, I have been telling all my earlier bosses that I've just changed it off 3 times. So I've told them that on Sundays, I'm sorry, I won't be picking up a call. Most of the times I keep my mobile at home on Sundays and then we go out. Because whatever salary, whatever money I am making, when will I use it? For my family. Sunday is a family. No working hours, nobody disturbing me for any kind of professional work unless it is too urgent. Suppose there is some event on Monday, then I might attend the calls. But then again, all my professors, all my friends, they will always call me on Saturday evening. And first sentence they say, "Tu de phone usal nahi." And now classes phone karungi. So that is the way you have to. That is again one simple technique which I have told you. There are many which will be coming up in later chapters. So work-life balance is necessary. Otherwise, you will get frustrated. There are cases where people have committed suicide because they are too much under work pressure. It is found again by a lot of studies. Research is the most important part in any management education. So there are a lot of researches have done across the world, and it is found that most of the people who commit suicide, the major reason is that they are not able to balance work and life. Life is intervening work and work is intervening life. Now, Madam and Sir know that I do a lot of, when this Corona started somewhere in the month of March, it's almost exactly 2 years before, March 19, 2020, Corona started, and 17th April, an idea came out from the brains of our COEP friends that we did one online orchestra, a new concept. We did online orchestra on 19th of April 2020, exactly 1 month after the lockdown started. And last Saturday we did 24th orchestra in 2 years. So almost every month, on an average every month we did one orchestra. Now during this time, all the people were busy and working at their workplaces. We were doing a lot of work, all the things were happening online at that time. And then we were doing the classes also, you might have attended, second year might have attended the classes online. We locked down in the month of March, April we covered all entire syllabus on online. Next year, the batch which is in second year, they had their first semester, second semester, everything online. But then we tried to come out with maintaining the work and life balance. And whenever I used to prepare for those orchestras, I basically used to conceive the orchestra and I used to do the anchoring, and if required, used to sing 1 or 2 songs in that entire orchestra. So for anchoring, there is a lot of study required. For one song of anchoring, I used to take somewhere around 5 to 6 hours of preparation for talking for 1.5 minutes. Because there is a sentence which is said by Lord George Bernard Shaw. So very thoughtful sentence, which says that long speech can be given at any moment without any intimation. Long speech can be given any moment without any intimation, but short speech requires a lot of preparation. Think on this. If you are supposed to speak only for 1.5 minutes of explaining the theme of your national conference, you will have to study a lot. But if you are supposed to speak in general for 1 hour, provided something is here, then you don't require any preparation. This is going to be, which I am talking to for next 10 hours, is a long speech for me. I don't have to prepare. As all the slides are there, and I have given many such kind of sessions in companies and in colleges and Rotary Club, etc. So for this is a long speech for me. But if I am supposed to speak, whenever I speak for only for 2 hours in this entire, I will have to prepare. I am required to prepare. Point here is that whenever I used to prepare for those orchestra, I never did it at my workplace. Once upon a time, my executive director called me and then he asked me, "Tumhi te orchestra वर काय करता म्हणे? त्यांनी तुमचा कॉलेजचा खूप वेळ वाया जात असेल." म्हटलं, "No sir, I don't write a single line of my orchestra when I am at workplace. When I go home, I don't do anything related to the work at my home. There I spend 5 hours, I stay overnight and do the work." What I am trying to tell you is work-life balance. So how you balance your work and life, there will be many training programs which you will attend when you will go to the corporate. Work-life balance is the highest paid training programs. I do that in corporate. But then again, outcome of that depends on you. You have to find out your own way of managing your work and managing your own life, because every life is different. Every life, there is a saying which says every life has a story. So you cannot copy somebody else's style of working, and you cannot balance your work and your life, because it is you who know what kind of life you are dealing with. Then there is another thing, balance of mind, which it is going to come up later. Self-development, goals we can speak up later, self-belief we can speak later. Ethics and Kaizen, again these 2 words. Now in this entire slide, these are the more important words or more learning lessons of management from that chapter. Ethics, now we are talking about ethics very often nowadays. Now you might have heard there is something coming up called as new education policy. Have you heard of this? New education policy is likely to come up that you don't have to take an admission for MBA. You can take admission DYPIMR, and then when you pass out, you might be a graduate in music. That's what new education policy thinks about. New education policy speaks mainly about ethics more. It has been very clearly mentioned that NEP focuses 80% ethics and 20% knowledge, 20% concept, because ethics people are forgetting. You can look at the politicians, what they are doing, how a corporator who has got some meager amount of salary from corporation, they get a salary every month. Every corporate gets a salary from corporation. How a corporator who is maybe owning a rickshaw or staying in some slum area, within 5 years he can make a money of 10 crore rupees. Why can't we ask this question? Because we know how do they do it. When a person becomes a minister, state minister, he will make a total worth of somewhere around 100 crore rupees. Central or cabinet minister will make 500 crore rupees. When everybody of them, they are paid the salaries, they are paid the pensions as well. So the question comes, why can't we ask this question to them, and why can't we ask them to be ethical? If they become ethical, then probably our India will not work. India cannot function. It is always required to have some such kind of people also to run the system. Rather, more such kind of people are there. So there are a lot of briberies, there are a lot of corruptions which are happening in the country, and there is a list which is made by some world organizations, and they have made a list of corrupt countries. List of started from first number country to 210, I guess, or 208. And our country, India, is 32nd in the rank from the top. Still, it is very much on the top. Out of 200, we are number 32. So you can just imagine what the countries below us must be doing as far as corruption is concerned. So why and what is the corruption in relationship with Bhagavad Gita's ethics? How you are following the ethics? And ethics starts from you individually. If your organization is doing unethical practices, you make it a point that I will not be a party to it. Because if you want to work with that organization, you will have to follow the culture which that organization has. But then you have to have your own values or own ethics. That's why NEP is focusing on. So every student will be taught about ethics. Ethics is some moral value, something you should do, something you shouldn't do. You should always respect the elders. You should always follow the instructions which are given by your teachers, parents, etc. These are not the rules. These are ethics. This is something called as moral sciences. I will not deceive anybody. I will not take any under table money. I will not bribe anyone. I will not do any kind of corruption. This totally remains with you as an individual. So if every individual decides not to do a corruption, then only our country can progress. So ethics is spoken a lot. You do have, at least for your syllabus, a subject called as, there are two subjects. One is, one now only, Indian ethos and business ethics. Under that subject, you will be learning how ethical businesses can succeed. That reference is again coming in 17th chapter. So the more ethical you are there, the more you are likely to progress. Tatas are supposed to be most ethical businesses. Now you can name the product, and Tata does have it. So ethical businesses will always progress, the unethical businesses will not. That reference will come later. So you have to follow ethics in whatever you do. It starts from personal ethics, then team ethics, and then organizational ethics. I'll speak on it a bit later in 17th chapter. Kaizen is a concept which we have not learned yet. First year students have not learned, but in strategic management you will learn it. Kaizen is a Japanese philosophy which speaks about step-by-step improvement. You cannot improvise overnight. That happens only in probably movies, from zero to hero. Mask. Which is that hero? Mask's a hero. Jim Carrey became zero to hero when Mask was released. That happens only in entertainment industry. It will not happen to you. Today you are being taken as at 20,000 rupees salary, and tomorrow company will call you and say, I'll give you 1 lakh rupees of salary. It won't happen. So there is always a Kaizen. Kaizen is step-by-step improvement. Company will expect a lot of things from you. Talking little bit of finance, I am not a person from finance, but then if some company is paying you X amount of salary, maybe whatever CTC you call it as, not salary. Salary is lesser than CTC. So if company is paying you X amount of CTC, it is expecting you 10 times of its return. So if company is paying 20,000 rupees salary to you, it will expect 2 lakh rupees of return from you directly, indirectly. You may not be directly contributing. The people who are more in office kind of a job, their quantification of their jobs and their duties is slightly different. So you cannot really measure. But indirectly, 20,000 salary, you must give back 2 lakh rupees. As you go on up in the hierarchy, your salary will go on increasing. You general managers and maybe vice president, assistant vice president, they will be getting the salary somewhere in the range of 5 lakh rupees, 10 lakh rupees per month. CEO, Indian CEO of Google, who's that? What is his salary? What is his salary? Anyone? Any idea? Just Google it out. Somebody can do that for me. Google salary of Sundar Pichai, you will get it there. Hello. $3 million or rupees. Have you Googled it? Yes, someone can Google me and tell me. You will get it. It's available, openly available. $1 million per month or per annum? $1 million is how many Indian rupees? 1 billion dollars. 100 crore rupees per year comes to how many rupees per month? 100 divided by 12, simple. It's not so difficult. 100 divided by 12 is how much? 82? 83? What next? 1,000? Million? Tell me something. This is not very difficult. 83.33 crore rupees per month salary. There are many companies, more than 70-80% companies who do not have the turnover of those companies to that range. So when that individual can make so much amount of salary, is it overnight? Definitely not. So if you want to keep a dream of getting that kind of a salary, probably people like us might require have to take 5 or 6 births to reach to that level. Provided that in the next birth we are going to the next higher level of managers. But it really doesn't happen. So point is, Kaizen is step-by-step improvement. You cannot expect miracles to happen in your life overnight. For that you will have to go to entertainment industry. Then only that can happen.